His name is Alex. And right now, he's standing on the edge of his own life. A foggy beach. Dawn breaking. Cold waves crashing at his feet. But the real storm, the one that matters, is raging inside his chest. It's not pain that screams. It's the silence that eats away at him. That quiet, aching question. Is this really all there is? He wakes up every morning like he's on autopilot. Coffee, traffic, meetings, small talk, screens, silence, sleep. No joy. No fire. Just a life that looks normal, but feels like slow erosion. There was a time when Alex burned with purpose. He had dreams that didn't just live in his head. They pulsed through his veins. But now those dreams feel like ghosts. Distant memories swallowed by a routine that kills passion softly and without warning. He watches the waves and wonders. When did I stop trying? When did I trade wonder for comfort? Aliveness for safety? And the truth hits like a punch to the chest. He hasn't been living. He's been existing. He's surrounded by people who smile at screens and laugh at surface-level jokes. But no one talks about purpose. No one talks about fire. Then, like a whisper in the wind, a quote returns to him. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly in a sea of mediocrity. It doesn't just describe his life. It defines it, a routine that pays the bills but bankrupts the soul. And suddenly, he feels it. Not just the emptiness, but the rage. The rage of a man who knows he was made for more. But forgot. Alex isn't broken. He's buried. Buried under expectations, distractions, and the lie that someday will be the right time. But maybe, just maybe, that someday is now. Yet, deep within, a flicker of hope stirs. He realizes that change is possible, that setting clear goals could be the compass to navigate out of this fog. The need for that change gnaws at him. Motivation might come and go. But committing to goals offers the structure to turn passive days into purposeful strides. As the sun begins to break through the fog, Alex understands that without direction, he'll continue to settle for mediocrity. But with action, he can reclaim his story. Too often, people like Alex wait for motivation to strike like lightning, hoping it will illuminate their path. But without goals, that wait stretches into a lifetime of unfulfilled dreams. He's spent years dreaming of a career change, picturing himself in a more creative role. Yet without a defined goal, those dreams remain just that, vague wishes that fade into the background of his mediocre routine. This endless waiting leads to regret, as days turn into months, and months into years, with nothing to show but a job that saps his joy and leaves him questioning his worth. Indecisiveness paralyzes him further. Without a goal, even small choices feel overwhelming, like choosing a path in a dense forest with no map. For instance, Alex has thought about going back to school, but without a clear objective, the idea looms as an insurmountable mountain, keeping him rooted in his unremarkable life. Fear and uncertainty amplify his hesitation. The dread of failure whispers in his ear, convincing him that staying safe in mediocrity is better than risking the unknown. He remembers turning down opportunities for promotions or side projects, not because he couldn't handle them, but because his aimless existence made every risk feel too daunting. In this cycle, mediocrity becomes a comfort zone, a familiar prison where growth is stifled and potential withers like an unwatered plant. But what if Alex decided to break free? The solution lies in immediate action, where even a small step toward a goal can shatter the chains of stagnation. Imagine him walking back from the beach, resolving to set a simple goal, like applying for that creative job he's always eyed, and taking action right away. That first move creates energy, turning the fog of indifference into a spark of momentum, proving that goals fuel progress and pull you from the depths of mediocrity. Building decisiveness starts with making firm choices. Alex could evaluate his options quickly, commit to a goal, and watch as his life shifts from vague drifting to directed effort. For example, by deciding to dedicate an hour each day to skill building, he transforms his routine from mindless repetition into a pathway of achievement. Practicing that first step is crucial. Today, he might write down one goal and complete a related task, like researching courses, to combat the complacency that's held him back. This immediate action counters mediocrity by showing that waiting for perfect conditions only prolongs the pain of an unfulfilled life. As Alex takes that step, he begins to face his fears head-on, realizing that pursuing a goal erodes the hesitation that's kept him stagnant for so long. Fear of public speaking, for instance, once stopped him from advancing at work. But with a goal in place, he signs up for a class, and each session chips away at his anxiety. Through this process, action becomes the antidote, replacing uncertainty with small victories that build confidence and diminish the emotional shadows of mediocrity. Learning through failure is another key. In a goalless life, setbacks lead to resignation, but with goals, they become teachers guiding him toward growth. Alex might stumble in his new pursuits, like facing rejection in job applications, but each failure refines his approach, turning what could be defeat into a stepping stone. This shift transforms his perspective, making him see that mediocrity thrives on avoidance, while goals turn fear into fuel for resilience. Now, cultivating self-discipline emerges as the foundation for maintaining those goals, the true key to escaping the pull of an ordinary existence. Without discipline, even the best intentions fade, as Alex knows from his past attempts at change that fizzled out due to inconsistency. But by committing to daily habits tied to his goals, like exercising each morning, he builds the endurance to push beyond mediocrity and into fulfillment. Self-discipline isn't about fleeting motivation. It's the steady force that turns aspirations into reality, preventing the slide back into complacency. For Alex, forming positive habits means prioritizing tasks, tracking progress, and creating routines that align with his goals, slowly reshaping his life. These habits act as anchors, holding him steady against the tides of distraction, and ensuring that mediocrity doesn't reclaim its hold. As he practices this, he feels a growing sense of control, where each disciplined day adds up to a life of purpose rather than passive endurance. Developing a clear vision and goals becomes the core of his transformation, providing the direction that's been missing from his aimless years. Goals serve as powerful motivators. Without them, Alex felt adrift and unmotivated, but now, defining specific objectives ignites an internal drive that propels him forward. For example, setting a goal for financial independence gives him a target, turning abstract desires into concrete steps that combat the emptiness of mediocrity. This clarity prevents the drift, as each goal acts like a beacon, guiding him through challenges and keeping his focus sharp. To make it practical, Alex learns to use tools like the SMART framework, ensuring his goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. He starts with a long-term vision, like building a fulfilling career, then breaks it into short-term goals, such as completing online courses in the next 3 months. Reviewing progress weekly keeps him accountable, turning what was once a foggy path into a clear, navigable route away from mediocrity. With each step, he feels the emotional weight lift, as goals provide not just direction but a sense of excitement that was absent in his previous life. This process of continuous forward movement ensures that stagnation doesn't creep back in, fostering a cycle of achievement and self-discovery. As Alex implements these strategies, he realizes that goals are the bridge from hesitation to action, from fear to courage, and from mediocrity to excellence. Building on this, he understands that true change requires persistence, weaving discipline and vision into the fabric of his daily life. He reflects on how far he's come from that foggy beach, no longer just surviving but thriving with purpose. Yet, doubts still linger, reminding him that the journey isn't easy, but the rewards of breaking free from mediocrity are worth every effort. Encouraged by his progress, Alex shares his story with a friend, inspiring them to set their own goals and escape the silent struggles they've faced. In moments of weakness, he reminds himself that every great achievement begins with a single, decisive step, just as his did. The emotional highs and lows of this transformation make him appreciate the depth of a goal-driven life, far beyond the shallow comforts of the ordinary. Now, as he looks to the future, Alex envisions a life rich with accomplishments, where regrets are replaced by stories of triumph. He knows that without goals, people like him are doomed to repeat the cycle of mediocrity. But with them, endless possibilities unfold, reaffirming the core idea: motivation and success don't just happen. They follow from having and pursuing goals, turning a mundane existence into one of purpose. Throughout this journey, we've seen how goals combat hesitation, transform failure into growth, and build the discipline needed for lasting change. Alex's story illustrates that anyone can escape mediocrity, but it starts with that first brave decision to act. As you reflect on your own life, consider the emotional struggles you've silently faced, the unfulfilled dreams, the nagging sense of what could be. Remember, waiting only deepens the void. Action, fueled by goals, is the path to a more vibrant, meaningful life. Don't let mediocrity define your story any longer. It's time to set your sights on what truly matters. Start today by identifying one clear goal, something that resonates with your deepest desires, and take that initial step, no matter how small. Imagine the relief of moving forward, the joy of watching your efforts bear fruit, and the pride of living a life you've intentionally shaped. Urge yourself to break free from the fog, just as Alex did, and embrace the transformative power of purposeful action. In doing so, you'll discover that the emotional struggles we all face can be alchemized into strengths, leading to a legacy of achievement. Let this be your call to action. Define your goals now, step into the life you deserve, and leave mediocrity in the past. As the sun rises on your new beginning, feel the weight lift, and know that every sentence of your story from here on is yours to write. So, what are you waiting for? The world is waiting for the version of you that's driven by goals, ready to shine beyond the ordinary. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly in a sea of mediocrity. This timeless truth highlights how a life devoid of direction often leads to unremarkable routines and missed opportunities. Imagine waking up each day with no clear purpose, where your actions feel like mere repetitions rather than steps toward something greater. People who live this way settle for dead-end jobs, not because they lack ability, but because they haven't defined what success means to them. Relationships become shallow, lacking the depth that comes from shared aspirations and growth. Procrastination creeps in, turning potential into regret as days blend into years of unfulfilled dreams. The emotional toll is heavy. Feelings of emptiness and hesitation dominate, making even simple decisions feel overwhelming. Yet, this doesn't have to be your story. Change begins with setting clear goals that provide structure and purpose. While motivation may come and go, committing to goals turns a passive existence into one of achievement and fulfillment. Remember, the key to escaping mediocrity lies in action, not in waiting for the perfect moment. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for motivation before they start, but without goals, that wait can last a lifetime. They dream of career changes or personal transformations, yet without a defined target, those dreams remain just that, dreams. This endless postponement results in job dissatisfaction, where years pass in a blur of unexciting tasks and unrealized potential. Regret builds as they watch others advance, all because they failed to chart their own course. Indecisiveness thrives in this void, paralyzing individuals and keeping them stuck in a cycle of average results. Without a roadmap, even small decisions, like pursuing further education, feel insurmountable, leading to a life of hesitation. Fear and uncertainty amplify the problem, turning what could be opportunities into reasons to stay safe and stagnant. Someone might avoid risks, such as starting a business, because their undefined aspirations leave them doubting every step. This fear often results in a mundane existence, where innovation and growth are sacrificed for the comfort of the familiar. But the solution is within reach. Immediate action tied to clear goals can break this cycle of mediocrity. Taking that first step, even if imperfect, creates energy and momentum that propels you forward. For instance, someone drifting through life might set a simple goal, like learning a new skill, and act on it right away. This small action transforms mediocrity into progress, building confidence with each accomplishment. Building decisiveness starts with making firm decisions based on your goals, preventing the paralysis that leads to stagnation. Evaluate your options quickly and commit, turning vague wishes into concrete steps that lead to fulfillment. Practicing the first step means setting a small, achievable goal today, like writing down one objective and completing a related task. This approach counters mediocrity by showing that you don't need ideal conditions, action creates them. Facing fear head-on is easier when you have goals. They provide the focus needed to erode hesitation. For those living in mediocrity, fear often stems from aimlessness, but pursuing a goal, like advancing in your career, diminishes it. Each step toward your goal replaces uncertainty with a sense of accomplishment, turning fear into a stepping stone. Learning through failure becomes a powerful tool when goals are in place, rather than a reason to give up. In a goalless life, failures lead to resignation and deeper mediocrity, but with goals, they become lessons for mastery. For example, a setback in a goal-oriented project can refine your strategies and build the resilience needed for success. Self-discipline emerges as the foundation for maintaining your goals, directly combating the complacency of mediocrity. It's not fleeting motivation that sustains progress, but discipline that keeps you on track day after day. Someone without goals might struggle to improve themselves, but committing to daily habits tied to a goal changes that. Building positive habits, like prioritizing tasks or tracking progress, transforms scattered efforts into a disciplined path. Start with simple routines, such as waking up early to work toward your goal, and watch as mediocrity fades into the background. Developing a clear vision and goals is the core antidote to a life of stagnation and unremarkability. Goals act as a compass, directing your actions and maintaining progress where aimlessness once prevailed. Without them, motivation wanes, and life feels purposeless, but with defined objectives, an internal drive ignites. For instance, setting a goal for financial independence can turn vague dissatisfaction into focused achievement. Practical methods make this achievable. Use the SMART framework to define goals that are specific, measurable, and time-bound. Begin with a long-term vision, break it into short-term steps, and review your progress weekly to ensure steady advancement. This process not only prevents drifting into mediocrity, but also builds a life of purpose and excellence. As you pursue these goals, you'll find that hesitation turns into decisive action, and failures become opportunities for growth. Remember, the power of goals lies in their ability to transform your daily routine from mundane to meaningful. Start today by outlining one goal that excites you, and map out the first action you can take right now. Over time, this consistent effort will pull you out of mediocrity and into a realm of personal victory. Don't underestimate the ripple effect. Achieving one goal often leads to pursuing others, creating a chain of success. In contrast, those without goals remain trapped in a loop of regret, wondering what could have been. By cultivating self-discipline, you're not just surviving, you're thriving, breaking free from the chains of an unfulfilled life. Visualize your future self, living with purpose and achievement, and let that image guide your daily decisions. Fear may still arise, but with goals in place, it becomes manageable, a mere hurdle rather than a barrier. Take inspiration from those who have escaped mediocrity, people who set goals and acted relentlessly until they succeeded. Your goals give you the motivation to push through challenges, turning potential setbacks into comebacks. Now, think about your own life. Where has the lack of goals led to complacency? And how can you change that today? The truth is, motivation follows action, not the other way around. So start moving toward your goals immediately. Build habits that align with your vision, like daily reflection or skill building, to maintain your momentum. As you progress, you'll notice a shift. Mediocrity gives way to fulfillment, and regret is replaced by pride. In the end, the choice is yours. Continue drifting or set sail toward a life of purpose. Reaffirm this core idea. Without goals, people inevitably settle into mediocrity. But with them, success becomes inevitable. Goals turn hesitation into action, failure into growth, and an ordinary life into one of excellence. So don't let mediocrity define your story. Take control by setting that first goal today. Start small, but start now. Write down one clear objective and commit to a step toward it immediately. Remember, every great achievement began with a single decision to pursue a goal. You deserve a life beyond mediocrity, filled with purpose, achievement, and joy. Embrace this challenge. Define your goals, act on them, and watch as your world transforms. The time for change is now. Step into the life you were meant to live, free from the shadows of aimlessness. In a world full of possibilities, those without a clear goal often find themselves trapped in the mundane. Picture a ship lost at sea, tossed by waves, with no destination in sight. That's the life of mediocrity. It's not just about lacking ambition. It's about the slow erosion of dreams into daily routines that mean nothing. You wake up, go through the motions, and end the day feeling empty, wondering where the time went. This isn't fate. It's a choice made by default, born from the absence of a guiding star. Remember, every great achievement starts with a decision to aim higher than the crowd. Without that aim, you're left settling for less, accepting jobs that drain your spirit instead of fueling it. Relationships suffer too, becoming shallow because there's no shared vision to build upon. The emotional toll is heavy. Procrastination becomes your companion, and regret your constant shadow. But it doesn't have to be this way. The power to change lies in setting the first goal. Think about it. Motivation isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through action. People without goals often wait for the perfect moment, only to watch years slip away in a blur of sameness. I've seen it in friends who dreamed of writing a book but never wrote a word, stuck in dead-end jobs. Their potential gathers dust, like a tool unused in a workshop, leading to a life of quiet dissatisfaction. The myth is that inspiration strikes like lightning, but in reality, it comes from deciding and doing. Failure to decide keeps you in mediocrity, where every choice feels overwhelming and pointless. Without a goal, even small decisions paralyze you, turning what could be progress into perpetual hesitation. For instance, someone might ponder starting a business for years but never take the leap, fading into obscurity. This indecisiveness breeds a cycle of stagnation, where comfort zones become invisible prisons. Fear and uncertainty amplify without goals, making every risk seem insurmountable. You hesitate, doubt creeps in, and soon you're back in the safety of mediocrity, avoiding any real challenge. Imagine turning down opportunities because you don't know what you're working toward. That's the trap. It's not that you're incapable. It's that without direction, fear wins every time. But here's the turning point. Immediate action is the key to breaking free. Don't wait for the stars to align. Start now, even if it's just a small step toward a defined goal. When you act, you generate momentum, turning the fog of mediocrity into a path of clear progress. Take someone who decides to learn a new skill. Suddenly, their days have purpose, and results follow. Building decisiveness means committing to your goals, no matter how imperfect the beginning. Evaluate your options quickly, choose a direction, and watch as hesitation melts away. Practicing that first step is crucial. Write down one goal today, and act on it immediately. This simple act counters the drift of mediocrity, proving that progress begins with movement. Overcoming hesitation and fear starts with facing them head-on, armed with a solid goal. Action erodes fear faster than any amount of planning. It's the antidote to a life of second-guessing. For those in mediocrity, fear often stems from aimlessness, but a goal gives you a reason to push forward. Consider public speaking as a goal. It might terrify you at first, but each attempt builds confidence. Learning through failure becomes your greatest teacher when goals are in place. In a goalless life, setbacks lead to defeat, but with goals, they become stepping stones to mastery. A project might fail, but analyzing it refines your approach, turning potential mediocrity into triumph. Cultivating self-discipline is the foundation that keeps you on track, far from the pull of mediocrity. It's not about fleeting motivation. It's about the daily grind that turns dreams into reality. Without goals, discipline fades, and you're left with habits that lead nowhere. But commit to a goal, like daily exercise for better health, and watch discipline take root. Building positive habits means prioritizing tasks that align with your objectives. Wake up early, track your progress, and soon, complacency is replaced by consistent achievement. These habits combat the lure of mediocrity, transforming scattered efforts into a laser-focused life. Developing a clear vision and goals is where the real magic happens, pulling you out of the ordinary. Goals act as your internal compass, directing energy and preventing the drift into unfulfillment. Without them, motivation wanes, and life feels like a series of random events rather than a story. But define a specific goal like achieving financial independence, and suddenly, you're driven. This clarity ignites a fire within, turning potential into progress and mediocrity into excellence. Practical methods make it achievable. Use the SMART framework to set goals that are specific and measurable. Break them into steps. Start with a long-term vision, then divide it into short-term actions. Review your progress weekly, adjusting as needed to keep moving forward. This process ensures steady advancement, leaving mediocrity in the dust. Remember, goals aren't just wishes. They're the blueprints for a life of purpose. As you pursue them, you'll find that challenges become opportunities, not obstacles. In the end, the core idea remains. Without goals, mediocrity is inevitable, but with them, anything is possible. We've covered the pitfalls of inaction and the power of decisive steps. You've learned how to face fear, build discipline, and create a clear vision. Now it's time to apply this knowledge and transform your life. Don't let another day pass in the shadow of unfulfilled potential. Set that one clear goal today, whether it's personal growth, career advancement, or something else. Take a small step right now. It could be as simple as jotting it down or making a call. Each action you take builds on the last, creating a momentum that mediocrity can't withstand. Imagine looking back years from now, proud of the life you've built through purposeful pursuit. The choice is yours. Continue drifting or set sail toward your destiny. Remember, success isn't reserved for the lucky. It's for those who define and chase their goals. Break free from the routine that holds you back and embrace the extraordinary. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your world expands beyond what you thought possible. You're not meant for a life of average. You're capable of greatness, but it begins with that first goal. So, heed this call. Define your path today and step into the life you truly deserve. No more waiting, your journey out of mediocrity starts now. In a world full of possibilities, those without a clear goal often find themselves adrift, trapped in the mundane cycle of mediocrity. Picture a ship without a rudder, tossed by waves with no destination in sight. That's the life of someone aimlessly wandering through days. Earl Nightingale once said, "A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder," and this truth echoes in the unfulfilled dreams of so many. Without direction, people settle for jobs that drain their spirit, never pushing beyond the comfort of the ordinary. They wake up each morning to the same routine, feeling a quiet emptiness that grows with every passing year. Procrastination becomes their constant companion, whispering excuses that keep them from ever starting. Hesitation creeps in, turning potential adventures into missed opportunities and regrets. This pervasive sense of emptiness leads to relationships that lack depth, built on convenience rather than passion. Dead-end jobs become the norm, where advancement is a distant dream rather than a pursued reality. Repetitive daily routines strip away excitement, leaving only the dull ache of what could have been. But it doesn't have to be this way. Change begins with a single decision to set a goal and break free. The need for change is urgent. Without goals, life remains a series of unremarkable moments. Committing to goals provides the structure that emotions like motivation can't always deliver. Turn passive existence into purposeful achievement by defining what truly matters to you. Remember, action follows commitment, not the other way around. Now, let's explore why so many people fail to take that first step, remaining stuck in mediocrity. Waiting for motivation is a trap that keeps you anchored in place, especially when goals are absent. People dream of change, but never act, letting days turn into years of unfulfilled potential. For instance, someone might fantasize about a new career but never apply because no clear goal guides them. This endless waiting results in job dissatisfaction, where work feels like a burden rather than a path to growth. Regret builds as opportunities slip away, reinforcing the cycle of mediocrity. Failure to decide amplifies the problem, as indecisiveness thrives in the absence of goals. Without a roadmap, even simple choices feel overwhelming, leading to paralysis and stagnation. Consider someone contemplating further education but never enrolling, stuck in a rut of average results. This pattern of hesitation ensures that life remains unremarkable, devoid of progress or excitement. Fear and uncertainty further entrench this mediocrity, making risks seem insurmountable. Without goals, fear of failure looms large, keeping people in safe but unfulfilling routines. Anxiety about the unknown prevents bold moves, like starting a business or pursuing a passion. As a result, individuals stick to mundane jobs, avoiding innovation and growth at all costs. This safe existence breeds resentment, as untapped potential festers in the shadows. The solution lies in immediate action, tied to clear goals, to shatter this cycle once and for all. Taking action, even if imperfect, generates the energy needed to escape mediocrity. For example, setting a simple goal, like learning a new skill, and acting on it today can spark real progress. This momentum builds confidence, turning a drifting life into one of achievement. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it through decisive steps toward your goals. Building decisiveness starts with making firm decisions based on those goals. Evaluate options quickly and commit, avoiding the drift into unfulfilling routines. By doing so, vague wishes transform into tangible results, pulling you out of mediocrity. Practicing the first step is crucial. Set a small, achievable goal and act on it immediately. For instance, write down one objective today and complete a related task right now. This approach counters the complacency that defines a goalless life. Overcoming hesitation and fear becomes possible when goals are in place. Facing fear head-on erodes its power, especially for those trapped in mediocrity. Pursuing a goal, like advancing in your career through public speaking, directly diminishes uncertainty. Each step taken replaces hesitation with a sense of accomplishment. Learning through failure is another key benefit of having goals. In a goalless life, failures lead to resignation, but with goals, they become teachers. Use setbacks as opportunities to refine your strategies and build resilience. For example, if a project fails, analyze it and adjust your goal-oriented plan. This mindset turns potential defeats into stepping stones toward excellence. Cultivating self-discipline is essential for maintaining those goals and escaping mediocrity. Self-discipline, not fleeting motivation, is the true engine of success. Without it, people slide back into complacency, letting goals fade away. Commit to daily habits that support your objectives, like exercising for better health. This consistency transforms scattered efforts into a disciplined path of fulfillment. Building positive habits is the next step in this journey. Start with small routines, such as prioritizing tasks each morning. Track your progress regularly to stay accountable and combat mediocrity. Over time, these habits create a life of purpose, far from the dullness of aimlessness. Developing a clear vision and goals is the core of breaking free from this trap. Crystal clear goals provide the direction that motivation thrives on. They prevent the drift into mediocrity by giving your life a defined purpose. For instance, aiming for financial independence ignites an internal drive that changes everything. Without such goals, feelings of aimlessness persist, sapping energy and enthusiasm. Practical methods make this achievable. Use the SMART framework to define your goals. Make them specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Start with a long-term vision, then break it into short-term steps. Review your progress weekly to ensure steady advancement. This process turns abstract desires into concrete actions, lifting you out of mediocrity. As we wrap up, remember that motivation and success are byproducts of pursuing goals. Without them, settling into mediocrity is almost inevitable. We've seen how goals turn hesitation into action and failure into growth. They transform an ordinary life into one of purpose and excellence. Don't let mediocrity define your story any longer. Take control by setting one clear goal today. Act on it immediately, no matter how small the step. Your future self will thank you for breaking free from the drift. Embrace the power of direction and watch your life unfold with meaning. Remember, the choice is yours. Choose goals. Choose growth. Choose a life beyond mediocrity. Start now and step into the extraordinary existence you deserve.